Hi everyone, and to the one guy who thinks my video setup is terrible, how is this? Good. I thought since I've been away for a bit, I'd do a quick little benchmark video because I upgraded from the RX 570 8G, it's the Armor Edition, to an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060, the Gaming ZZ Edition. And I threw together some benchmarks for it, so figured we could just jump right into that and see how the performance compares. I started with a game that's a fairly recent benchmark game. I went with the Division 2. It's a game that came with Radeon cards at the time when I got the 570. And the funny thing was it didn't really run it like, you know, a card would run a benchmark game at the time, like a new card, new game. It actually didn't run as good as I thought it would. It only ran at like medium settings. So maybe I should mention the specs here. It says it here, but at that moment I had Windows 10 Enterprise, 16 gigs of DDR4, 2400 megahertz RAM, a Ryzen 5 2600 6-core hex-core processor, and the RX 570 was the 8G, so it had 8 gigs of VRAM. And you can see where the FPS was. It only came in at like 56 FPS, and I think it was running medium settings. And it got a score of 5,049. And then if you jump over to the RTX 2060, it got a score of 8,538 and an average FPS of 95. A massive improvement. Doubled in performance right there. Or just about. Something I noticed, which is kind of funny, is it used more of the CPU. It used like 20% more of the CPU with this card. Not sure why. There's no way that I could explain it, but just thought that was kind of interesting. And moving on to 3D Mark, because I don't have a lot of money laying around my little office here, I use 3D Mark Vantage because it's the most recent free, or I don't know, it was just one of the free ones that they had sitting around. And I decided I would just check that out, even though it was DirectX 10. And I think the RX 570 is a DirectX 11 card, and the RTX 2060 is a DirectX 12 card. Either way, I just felt like this would be the best I can get for free. So I just kind of grabbed this real quick and threw together some benchmarks. Let me make sure I have the right one here. Yes, the RX 570 came up with a total score of 3,800 and 859 3D marks, and the RTX 2060 Gaming Z came in at 5,200 453 3D marks. And there's separate GPU scores for the RX 570 just below the score threshold. Here was 3,700 973 points, whereas the RTX came in at a whopping 5,700 and 104 points on 3D Mark Vantage. Kind of blew this thing out of the water, but this was in reality just to compare the two cards, and you could see where the performance has just doubled. Now the thing is with the RTX, if you enable ray tracing on a game that utilizes that function, which there's very few right now, but I noticed that the performance decreases by like half. So if you use ray tracing on a 2060, not the 2060 Super, this is just the 2060, even though it's the Gaming Z for overclocking and all that, still your performance is going to be cut in half. So you're gonna be, even though you have ray tracing, you're going to have the performance of a 570, which is what I kind of noticed. So I would say if you buy a entry-level RTX card, you're better off just not using ray tracing, you know, just for giggles, if you want to try it out. But I noticed it's performance-wise not worth it. But that was just a quick little overview on the two cards. And thanks for jumping in on this short video. And I'll see you again when I benchmark the two laptops that I got now. I just got a new laptop. I got the Dell G315, which a lot of tech YouTubers seem to want to poke fun at. However, I've noticed that the performance is just impeccable. So I decided to, since I benchmarked the Lenovo netbook that I modified, I would, you know, I think I benchmarked it for the other benchmark video I did. And even though it's such a low score, it's obvious it's not going to run as good as anything else that's even remotely modern. I decided I would compare them just like I compared these two cards and see what kind of a score I get. So maybe I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.